Well, good morning again, and welcome to the Messer Financial Life Insurance Training Webinar. As you're aware, this year we're taking a little turn, and we're trying to present information to you that will be beneficial in your actual efforts in the sales process. A couple of items, first of all, of course, is making sure your phones are muted. And we also ask that any questions you may have during the presentation, if you'll type them in the box you'll see on the right-hand column under questions, and we'll address those questions as we get into the presentation. So with that all in mind, once again today we have the pleasure of welcoming Charlene Thardelson. Charlene's been with us before. She's with North American, and because of the nature of the training that they make available to you as an agent, we've been sharing those benefits. We would certainly ask that you would consider getting appointed with the carrier so that as we talk about benefits that they offer in their products that are sensitive to your client's needs, you'll be all ready to go. Today we're going to have a presentation on probably the most basic of needs that you're going to address with clients, and that's going to be their income protection. So with that in mind, my pleasure once again. Good morning, Charlene.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me back, and thanks for everybody for joining us this morning. Like Mark said, it is probably the most basic need for life insurance, but I think sometimes people forget or overlook it, or think that they don't need it, and the importance of it is so. It can be life-changing in one of the worst moments of their life. And so the importance of getting it early while they're insurable and definitely before something tragic happens is really, the key to having this life insurance protection there for when that income is lost because of one of the household family members. So that's really where we're starting today. And I know that most of you that are on the call, life insurance is not your primary line of business. So this is really, I think, important too, that it fits into, whatever other insurance you're taking care of with your clients, is that you can transition into life insurance by asking them, just a few questions to see if they've got their income protected, and how you can start with a simple basic policy such as a term, that you don't have to go all the way into a cash value product, but we will touch on that there's several different options that are available. So I hope that this will help make you think of some of your clients and think about a different way to approach them when they're already in front of you for one of the other lines of insurance that you're providing to them. So with that, I'll go ahead and just get us through to get started here, and we'll outline what the agenda is for today. And I've got some materials that I can share with you. I understand that today's session is being recorded, but of course, a copy of the presentation can also be available. And then we have a great microsite that's available too that has supporting material that goes with it. So let's just start here with this picture. Sometimes people are oblivious to even the most obvious things around them. And agents too can fail to recognize some of the most obvious sales opportunities. And that's really what we're saying. When you have those clients already in front of you at your desk, taking care of their other insurance needs, make sure that you're, offering them all that you can and protecting all of their other valuables, not only their health or their property and casualty, but what about that life and protecting that income? So income replacement isn't a new sales concept, but like I've mentioned, it's often overlooked. And so just today, the purpose of what we're trying to do is just give you a simple reminder to just not overlook this and don't miss that opportunity. Your clients will thank you for it in the future, and in the meantime, you'll make a little extra money as well. So what we're going to talk about today is the need for the income replacement, and we'll go through an analysis of different ways to identify the death benefit that's needed, because you need to determine, how much income they're currently making and for how many more years you need to protect that, and what additional insurance they have in place. So we'll take a look at how you can briefly analyze that. It's not very in-depth. It's some basic formulas. And then we'll wrap up the presentation with some of the different product solutions that North American has to offer. And like I said, we'll start with something as simple and basic as term, low cost, just to protect that income, and then how you can transition and move into the other cash value type products. So first of all, I just want to take you through, and this is something that you might need to do with some of your clients too, is just really thinking about the need and making it hit a little home for them, pulling on their heartstrings a little bit. So ask your clients to imagine, what if their spouse wasn't here tomorrow? I mean, we never know when that day is going to be, and it could be tomorrow or it could be years down the road. But how comfortable would they be financially if all of a sudden they were without a spouse in the household? And would they be able to pay the bills next month? Maybe they'd be able to pay them next month, but what about a few months down the road? Would they be able to make it through the year? How might it change their life, their lifestyle, if one of the breadwinners and spouses' income was no longer there? Would it affect their ability to retire, depending on what the age of these clients are? Or thinking about that they still have kids at home, how might it impact them? Maybe the spouse, didn't work and they were at home caring for the kids. How might that change? Now the surviving spouse has to obviously continue working, but now there could be additional daycare expenses. What about the kids' future college? How could a spouse or a parent dying early change the outlook for a child's college plan? So really, it's just thinking about that. Maybe you have a story of some clients that you've had in the past that life insurance played a big role, or maybe it wasn't there and it played, it was a big void. If you don't have your own story to share with your clients, I encourage you to hop out to the lifehappens.org website. There are testimonials out there. There are short videos and about how life insurance helped in a tragic family situation. So going back, just thinking about the loss of that income of a spouse can really be a worry for these families that they might just be ignoring. Nobody wants to talk about death, and so they think, if they don't talk about it, it's not going to happen. But that's not how it works. So it's better to get that life insurance in place ahead of time before something does sneak up. So, so think about some of the bills and the costs that might be a challenge to meet if the household income was reduced or missing one of those incomes. Think about the utilities, the food and groceries, that child care, those education expenses, health care, housing. Housing is a big one, I think, because you think about a family who lives in a home together and that second income helps pay for that mortgage. If that other income weren't there, could these people, the remaining family, maybe have to move in with other family members or maybe have to sell the house and move into an apartment? That would be pretty devastating after just the loss of a parent. So I just encourage you to further think about that and get your clients to think about it. Additional costs that they're going to have is those final expenses, a funeral early on when you weren't expecting it. So really getting that insurance in place to help in all of those aspects is what we're really talking about here today. So the analysis that you can use to figure out how much insurance you need to protect that income can be um, any one of these. We're gonna go through. It can be a percentage of their income. It can be that you sit down and ask them what their budget might look like, how much money they're spending here and there. Fact finders. There's a ton of fact finders out on the internet, and maybe Master Financial even has one that they recommend. We have a pretty lengthy one that's available. I'll show you when we go out to our microsite. It's all encompassing, so I think it is probably maybe about 6 or 8 pages long. But you could either give that to your client or work with them on it to try to fill in those questions and answers because it'll really be thought provoking and make them kind of think and pull up some of these numbers and see it all on paper. So, that's a little bit more in depth. And it, but through that, you can really discover how much insurance they need. And with all these plans and bills that they have, that it's much more than, a small $100,000 policy or something. And it could be a specific dollar amount. Maybe after you go through some of the others, you determine that they already have some insurance through their employer. Maybe they have an old policy for a smaller amount, but when you put all of those numbers together, using some of the other analysis tools, you find out that there's a shortage of, 250,000 or 500,000. So it could be a specific dollar amount that way. But anyway, the point is there's different ways to get to that number and different tools. And so here's just a couple of them that you might look at. And like I said, we've got some tools, and you can find all sorts of them out on the internet as well. So the one of the tools that we have, and I'm going to show you here on this next page, and this is part of our income replacement concept kit, is just a grid. And so that's really pretty easy to use. It's a one page. I'll show you that on the next page. The life insurance needs calculator, we have one available in our software as well as that one I mentioned on the site. But that's again where you're going to plug in numbers. Even the lifehappens.org, when you get out to that page, where I mentioned that those videos and testimonials and stories are, there's a, that's a third party. That's not an insurance company. That's just a lifehappens.org. And you go out there, there's a insurance needs calculator too that you can share with the client, or you can, walk through with them. I mentioned that the web has a lot of tools, but also we also have an additional software tool that's available with our North American software, and that's called InsMark. That also has a pretty comprehensive analysis tool that you can use. But if you want to keep it simple, you can use this income replacement grid that we have here. This is a one page. I realize you probably can't see the numbers because, my gosh, I can't even see them here, and I think my screen is bigger than yours as since I'm the presenter. But if you, just for example, I'll just point out, let me get a little pen here and show you. If you had a 45-year-old who you're looking at insurance for, right here it says the years of income that you need to provide or protect. So say a 45-year-old, you're trying to protect the income for another 20 years while they work until retirement age. You'd pick the 20 years, and then down here, you're looking for what is their annual income. So let's say that we come down here and their annual income is 40, I think that says 40,000, 48,000. Yeah, I can't see, sorry. But the point is, it's just sliding. So you're just going to slide over here and find where the the column and row meet. To 20 years to protect 48,000, they're going to need over $800,000 of death benefit protection. And how we've come up with that number is listed right up here at the top. As it says, we assume that the lump sum shown below earns a rate of 6% and has a 20% effective tax rate on the investment earnings. So this would be, if this person died anytime during these 20 years, there would be a death benefit paid of about 800,000. That's what they need to have in place, and that 800,000 could be invested at 6%, with a 20% tax rate, and that they would be able to take withdrawals or disbursements out of that money wherever they put it into some other investment once the death benefit is paid, and be able to take out that 48,000 a year to replace that income that has been now lost. So how a lot of people are using a grid like this is, print this out from our website. I'll share it with Mark, and he can get it out to you as well. But print it out, laminate it, put it in a sheet protector, have it handy for your discussions with your clients. And it's just this would be the easiest probably way to find out what type of amount of insurance they need. Now, when we see here that it's 818,000 that they need to protect, that's when maybe they tell you that they already have 200,000 through their employer, and then you can subtract that off and then look for the difference, a 600 some thousand dollar policy. So it can be as simple as something like this. or more detailed and more thorough through those other needs analysis. Here is a kind of a basic life insurance needs calculator, and this is just a one pager. I think this is the one that's available in our software. But you can see here, this is going to help make them think about those hard questions. Final cost, funeral, medical at the end of life, administrative costs such as going through the final probate or will or anything like that. College fund for their children, emergency funds, child care costs, paying off the mortgage. Did they usually give to charities? And then down here, it's going to help you go through and figure out what their current their current household income is. How much did the person above contribute to that? Thinks about their Social Security benefits in the future. You can calculate that in. And then what is the income shortage? And then what is it that they need for insurance? So, like I said, several different ways for you to get to the end result. But the main point is that you start working through that and getting your clients to think about it. Let's see. Here's another one, just in our basic underwriting guide. This is what we're looking at too, as far as what will they qualify for. Um, depending on what their age is, we can take their current income and take multiples of that. So if we were back at our 45-year-old, we would, and their current income, we would be able to allow and underwrite them for 20 times their current income. So just again, another way of thinking about it and how we get to the solution. The solutions with North American, we've got a couple different ones. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about term being the lowest cost, easiest way to get something started. But sometimes you might want to extend that coverage longer or maybe use a combination of both. So I'm just going to touch on now our term and our custom guarantee, which is our no lapse guarantee. So our term policies are available in 10, 15, 20, and 30-year durations. So back with our example before, we had a 45-year-old. If we really just need to look for that protection for the 20 years while he's still working or until the kids are out of the house, you could match that up with a 20-year term. Term is a great solution because it's low cost and you can match it to the duration. Now, if he's only working for 18 years, obviously you'd probably take the 20 and then choose to end it early if that's what you wanted. But it's a relatively low cost way to get it on the books and get the protection there. Um, and then you can do combinations of them if you need to. Maybe they need the coverage for 30 years, but the kids will be out of the house in 15. So maybe you want to do a combination of two, so that some of the coverage drops off after a certain period of time. One of the greatest things about our term is that besides getting the low cost and getting it locked in initially, is that we do have an term conversion. So they can convert into a longer policy, a cash value product, without going, excuse me, through underwriting again in the future. So example, that 45-year-old that needed 20 years of protection, maybe 15 years into it, he says, well, I really don't want this policy to end in 5 years. I should have it go for the rest of my life. If he keeps the term policy, those premiums are going to go up. But if he converts it to a custom guarantee policy, that will provide coverage all the way out to 120. So something that they're probably not going to be able to outlive. And that's the next product that I'm going to touch on. But it doesn't mean that you have to start with that custom guarantee, that no lapse coverage. You could start here as a cost savings, and then in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, before the conversion privilege expires, which is going to typically be through the level period, the 10, 15, 20, or 30 year, or at least through age 74. If they happen to be older clients when they get it, they're going to always have at least 5 years. So, if they're 70 when they're getting it, they're going to at least have 5 years, not just through 74. So there are quite quite attractive conversion privileges along with this. But if you do it within the first 5 years, when you do the conversion to a permanent plan, then you're going to automatically get the living benefits that come with the permanent plan. And so the permanent plan that I'm going to talk about here is our custom guarantee. This is going to be lowest cost for the coverage. It's not designed to build cash value, but we do have options that do build cash value. So with the custom guarantee, you get the living benefits if you do it within the first 5 years. If you do it past the 5 years, then they can go through underwriting just for a yes or no to have the chronic or critical illness added. Now, in Florida, critical illness isn't available there, but other states it is. But again, just for the chronic illness, so they could have that added. If they want a policy that is going to build cash value, then we have other products that they could convert to, such as our Index Universal Life. And like the last bullet says here, it could be a combination of term and universal life. So when I said before, maybe they need extra coverage while the kids are still at home for those next 10 years. Maybe you could do a term policy there, and then you could also combine it with a universal life, whether it be the custom guarantee, no lapse coverage for that longer guarantee that won't run out, or even our guarantee builder that can provide a guaranteed death benefit in addition to cash value. So you could combine it and take it a step further. Um, I had already shown you this grid, but like I said, this is part of our income replacement sales kit. I do want to show you. Let me see if I can hop out of this presentation here real quick. Let's go down here. I'll just bring this over to this side, my other screen here. And I'll share this with Mark too, but on our microsite um, website, it doesn't require a username and password, and there's a lot of useful information out here. I happen to be on the sales concept page where we have about 12 or 13 different sales concepts listed out here. Here is the financial objectives discussion guide. This would be like our analysis tool for going through, this is, you could give this to your client, you can get some personal information about them. Let's see, let's go through some of the rest of it. You're gathering other names about their other advisors that help them. But then here's their financial concerns. This is where they can kind of rate some of this information for you. Relationships. It's a great fact finding tool. Then you get into their financial situation as far as, what is their pre-retirement earnings, their annual salary, other income, and it'd be for each of the spouses. Goes through assets. You can gather that information. Retirement assets, liabilities, taxes. Let's see. This is actually a 12-page document. So you can see that it can be quite lengthy, and maybe it's something that you and your client can work through together. College funding needs. What are they currently saving? What do they have? Housing expenses, other insurance that they have. But as you can see, this would be a great tool to gather a bunch of information with your client so that you could accurately make a recommendation based on what they have in place, what their expenses are, what their concerns are, and how long they yet to work. Let me go back here. Let's see. Oh, sorry. All right, so on the sales concept page, if we scroll down to life insurance for income protection, I just want to show you this page real quick. There is a short video here. It's just over a minute. This is also available. I'll play it. You're not going to be able to hear it, but this is also available on our YouTube channel. This is something that you can share with your clients. It's client approved. There's instructions here on how you can get the link. You'd go out to our YouTube channel, grab that link, and then you could post it on some of your social media. You could email it out to your client. When your client's sitting at your desk, you could play this kind of like a short little video or commercial to kind of open the door for this conversation. So let me stop this here. Um, why can't I? Oh, there's the X right up there. Sorry. So right here, YouTube, if you click out here, it'll take you to the YouTube channel so you can copy that link and share it. The marketing materials for you as the agent. Here's your marketing guide. Here's a client brochure on life insurance um, for income protection. A case flyer. Here's that financial objectives that tool that you can fill in. Here's that guide. The other thing that I wanted to show you while I was out here is lifehappens.org. I had made reference to this during our call a couple times today. Just want to show you here real quick too, because this is a great tool to use and to share with your clients. Right here is a calculator, life insurance needs calculator. So this is also one of those tools that you can use. It's got some great statistics and facts out here. Look at here, 86% say they haven't bought life insurance because it's too expensive, yet they overestimate its true cost by more than 2%, by 2 times. But there's those videos out here that I was telling you about, real life stories. Um, if you don't have a story that you can be sharing with your clients of either your own personal one or one of your clients that you can share and you can show how it helped make a bad situation better or tolerable. Think about some of these. Here we thought we had a lifetime. Here this is this apparent. I haven't looked at this one yet, but these videos are true stories of people. So I encourage you to give a look, share these with your clients as far as helping them see the impact of what life insurance is and how important it is to their family and their future. So I encourage you to come out here, check this out. Let's go back to our presentation. Oops, sorry, switch sides here. All right. So then just as a wrap up, and then I'm going to turn it back to Mark for some closing comments. So if you have questions, please try to get those typed in so we can address those here towards the end. But really what I did for you today is just help you identify the need. Try to talk with your clients about imagine if, we know it's all a topic everybody tries to avoid, but really they need to start thinking about it sooner than later. Um, and the different analysis tools, I showed you quite a few of them. You have all different kinds to choose from. It can be a combination of the two. And those are available on a lot of them are available on our microsite that I shared with you. And then as far as the different solutions that North American offers, we talked about term. I mentioned custom guarantee, a no lapse coverage that can go all the way out to 120. We could dial it down to 99. We can dial it down to 90. That one you can kind of tailor to the duration that you need. But if they want to combine that with some cash value growth, they can use one of our IUL products as well. So great options there. The bottom line with this is with any sales opportunity using life insurance is that we need to think about what is it that's in it for the clients and what do you as the agent get. So your clients, they're getting protection for pennies on the dollar, especially when you look at term. And when you're out on Life Happens or if you're ever out on LIMRA, there's some great comparisons there as far as that, protecting their loved ones can cost less than that cup of coffee that they get each day. So it can really be low cost to give them that peace of mind. It's a customized solution that you can work through with your clients using those different tools. And for you as an agent, you either are gaining another client or you're providing an additional sales opportunity to one of your already existing clients that you're maybe offering health or property and casualty to. It's a referral opportunity. On one of those on that lengthy form that I went through, it was asking about, important people in their lives, and, like maybe who would be the guardian of their children, um, or other brothers and sisters or family members. Those might be great referral opportunities for you, by getting the insurance protection in place for your already existing clients. Who can they refer you to so that you can help protect their families as well? So the I guess the moral of today's story was, this it wasn't a new concept. It's just really overlooked, and so we just really want you to 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 have your eyes and ears open for these opportunities. Don't walk past them. Add income replacement to your next conversation, and make sure that you're helping your clients in all ways possible. So with that, Mark, let me turn it back to you and see what we got for questions.
Well, once again, Shar, thank you very much for not only a very informative presentation, but information that I feel our agents can put to use immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, just last week we worked on a needs analysis. So we have presented to us today again some of the information or alternative types of needs analysis forms. Those are available to you, as was brought out by Charlene right there on that website, including the information that you don't even have to be actively appointed to access. Again, too, what we were trying to accomplish this year is to give you true sales feedback, things that we know you can take out and use. And right in the very beginning, Shar did something that was very important. She asked a basic question, designed, of course, to shake them up, but then again, to prepare them, as you will, to find a solution. And that question was, what if one of you dies tomorrow? That's a hard one to bring up. I'll tell you, one of the first places you'll use it, on occasion, you'll have an appointment with a client set by either the husband or the wife, who actually does recognize the need to have the insurance, but unfortunately they're fighting a spouse, that one of those that says, what do we really need insurance for? So when you bring up the shake-up question and you put them in that position and you ask them to really think about where they would be, as she said, will they have enough money right now to take care of things for a month? Well, that's great. But what happens in month 2 and 3? What happens in month 10 and 12? What happens down the years when those children are going to college? What's going to be available? And of course, most importantly, recognize that it doesn't have to be a breadwinner's death that causes additional stress on the family's economy. Of course, one of those stay-at-home spouses have a very important role and would still need to be fulfilled, even though the one spouse will continue to work, by the cost of having someone else come in and do it. So there's your reason for that lost spouse who doesn't even have an income. She gave you a number of forms to use on the analysis format. Most importantly, you might want to just go in there and make a copy of that NAM 3124, which was that percentage program. We'll touch on that in just a moment as well. Also using, of course, the budget, also using the fact finder, or going into the specific dollar. But when you do an analysis on a death benefit, one of the things, that's so common is an agent will just say, well, we'll just use 20 times your income, which is fine to have a number, but what about having a purpose behind the number? What about taking it out the way she showed you with that analysis and showing them how that works? Why did we say that amount? Well, we said that amount because we're going to base it on the fact that when you receive that money, you're still going to have a percentage of gain from an investment that you'll choose to make. You still will have a tax liability, but if you do it in that nature and then draw it out over time, you'll see exactly how that dollar was designed to fulfill the need of the dollars that were lost on that annual income. So there you go. I mean, that's a home run. That makes you the specialist. That tells your client that you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. So again, Shar, thank you very much for going through the analysis the way you did. When you look at the solutions, of course, as we mentioned, this is a very basic need. And one of the first common places you're going to go to is to the term product. Now, next week, during the presentation, we're actually going to do a case study. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind is when you're looking at any term products, you as an agent need to know what the benefits of conversion are. It's a twofold thing going on here. Number one, of course, the most obvious should be that down the road, someday, you want to go back to the family that you've made that one sale to and enhance it with the second sale. So that's going to eliminate some of the frustration in your own marketing as you build that clientele. You're going to have a reason to go back. The reason you're going to have to go back, of course, is the conversion benefit. So please be very careful as you look at any company, especially when some agents fall into the syndrome and say, well, what's my lowest price term product? Well, there's some out there that you're going to be able to find that are going to be lower than the quality companies like North America that don't offer benefits of conversion, or what they offer are so limited that it's hardly even worth the client's benefit. But if you're just going to do a quick sale, just to do a quick premium, that's what's going to take place. And all you've done is, again, you've closed the door. We don't want to go there. We also want them to have the benefit of the living benefits. And I was glad Charlene took a moment there to go over to that idea and let you know that on those programs, the conversions of those even will be available on a more permanent product, number one, but also very simply on the basis of a yes and no. It's not going to involve a whole lot of background check or APS work. So if they have had a critical condition, that answer of yes is going to, of course, eliminate that living benefit. What you want to try to do, though, again, in the early stages is let's go hunting for products that offer those benefits so that the client doesn't have to worry about adding them back in down the road. Then again, when we go over to the sales concepts, and she brought you over to a very public website there for the Life Happens. Again, just a way for you to further educate yourself, allowing yourself the opportunity to grow in knowledge, whether it be Shar, myself, others that you'll come in contact with over our webinar format. We don't have all the answers. What you need to do is go out there and look at other options and do some discovery work on your own. I think even Shar made that clear to you. She's gone out to those sites and there was something she hit on. She said, well, I haven't even looked at that yet, and I'm sure that's something she will go back and look at. And that's what you need to do also. So let's see if we do have any questions. And here we go again. When you're that thorough, this is the end. You don't have any questions.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. We said, I mean, it was basic. I mean, I hope everybody's kind of doing that, kind of hitting their forehead saying, yeah, I know I should be doing this. I mean, this is basic. I know it. It used to work for me, and I just got to remember to do it. I mean, make yourself a note and put it on your computer, just monitor so that you remember, ask about income replacement, make it a part of the process so that it's not overlooked. You're doing a great thing for your clients. So thanks for having me again today, Mark.
Oh, always, again, it's always a pleasure. And again, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important things that I'm going to continue to stress is if you have not been appointed yet to sell products with North American, please go to the Messer website, use our agent resource tool, get your contract in the works. So not only will you have access to the information they provide to you without having been appointed, but you'll have access as an agent to other information as well as product, getting your brochures for products you're going to sell. Again, you'll automatically be enrolled in their website information, and you're going to get hit with some emails, which aren't bad. That are going to be emails saying, hey, we're going to do a training presentation on this. So it might be something that I haven't gotten to or something I'm not going to ever get to. yet it's something you have an interest in, and they're going to allow you to get on board and get that extra training. I continue to emphasize one of the reasons we turn back to Shar and North American as often as we have is I truly do find their educational tools available to be the best in the industry. So again, Shar, thank you very much for that.
Well, and on that point, let me just go back to that site where I was showing you the income protection.
Uh-huh.
When I'm going to include the link. I'm going to send it over to you, Mark. The home page, we were on the sales concept page to get to the income replacement. We have a products page, a whole section on living benefits. But when you said training and education, on our web events page, we offer about 2 or 3 live webinars um, during each month. So these still haven't been updated with our May ones yet, but those are listed at the top. We have a section on recorded sessions that are available at any time. So here is the income replacement one that we just did today. It's going to be similar. It's somebody else recorded it. It's available out there. So these are like on demand. You can watch these at any time. So if you're hungry for more information and you want to do some self-education here, we've got some great tools for you out here. If you want to start reviewing their policies to see what they have, there's some great pointers here. College planning, so just different ones that you can educate yourself on out here. There's probably almost 20 of them out there. So I'd encourage you to check that out, register, and watch those if that's something you'd be interested in.
And those are also some of the webinars that perhaps in the future will be tapping on you to present to the group as well as they fit the training schedule. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
And again, too, as Shar pointed out, not only on their website, but of course the one we just did today is recorded. You'll find it on the Messer website. We're putting them up a little differently this year. We're putting them up about a week after presentation. So today's webinar will not be posted until next Tuesday. Although we didn't have any proprietary information that we asked you to download today, that will happen on occasion. And it's one of the reasons why we continue to emphasize, if you can, please block out that 1 hour of time from 9 until 10 every Wednesday so that you can enjoy another learning process. Or as Shar said, like today, maybe it's just something you stop doing and it hits you right between the eyes and you say, oh, why did I stop doing that? It worked. But that's what happens. So again, it's our pleasure to have this opportunity. Shar, once again, thank you very much for another well-done presentation of information. And for those of you who have the time, again, I hope next week you'll block it out. I hope you'll be with us as we actually begin to do some case study work. And in that, we're going to use some of the tools that we talked about in the past and give you the advantage to be more comfortable if it's something perhaps you haven't done before. So again, Shar, thank you very much. I hope we all have a great week, and I'll look forward to talking with you again next Wednesday. Mark Conter signing off. Thank you, Shar.